the likelihood of them losing this funding, frankly, is just shameful. It's like I said before, I've been in these classrooms. I've been a public school teacher, and my wife and I raised our 3 sons and my nephew in Nevada's public schools, and I've seen kids who just need a little help, a little funding, a little support to break through and succeed. I was that kid. And I know what happens when politicians turn their backs on them. And I can tell you this, what Lombardo is doing is indefensible. You know, my wife can't stand it when politicians say things like, this isn't about politics. Because she says everything politicians do is about politics. Touche. But 2 things can be true at the exact same time. This is actually about doing what's right for our children and their futures, regardless of political affiliation. Lombardo, that's just reckless, and it's wrong. Lombardo will be known as the governor who's gutted Nevada's public schools, and that's on him. But we're not going to let him do that without a fight. And with that, I will take some questions.
Mark? Oh, sure. So the special education funding, you kind of touched on this. President Trump has said that that program is going to be preserved in full, is his quote. And so some of this is political theater, and it's just transferring some of the responsibilities to other departments, and so that it's not, we don't need a single department for this, that there's better agencies to handle this. And so as far as the claim that some of these programs are going to be kept, like special education funding, what would you say to that?
I'd say what I've already said. I do not believe him. I have been engaging in litigation with the Trump administration since he was inaugurated. 6 hours into his inauguration, he violated the Constitution, and we had to sue to defend the Constitution. He has had people running amok in our government and accidentally doing stuff, right? And so I take no consolation or solace in this notion that it's going to stay there, because I don't believe him. And at the end of the day, it is reckless and irresponsible to sign up to cut down the Department of Education when we need $6 billion. We need that money that we get. And at the end of the day, I'm going to be there to continue to defend against this reckless type of activity, even if our governor won't.
Mark, can I jump in on that? The IDEA, it's called IDEA, the program that supports special needs kids, right? Individuals, right, with Disabilities Education Act. And an IDEA could live somewhere else if we were doing right by those students outside of a program, and experts that know how we should support those students. It wouldn't be in the Department of Education. But it was developed because it wasn't being done well, it wasn't being done right, and it really wasn't taking care of those kids, some of the most vulnerable. So it came up because we weren't doing it right. So we're going to get some people who really know how to do it to run this thing.
Okay. Can I just top that off real quick? The other piece that I think that we haven't talked about, though, is all these other departments where this stuff could happen are all being cut as well. So how is a department going to take on additional responsibility for a program when they've already seen the employees within their department be cut so drastically? So I think it's important that there is a systemic thing at play here, and I think this is just the most latest and the most concerning kind of, exposure of the whole grand plan. So.
84, you're here bashing Governor Lombardo's approval of the Trump administration's decision. I'm curious, do you have plans to run for governor? And if so, what are your plans and your top priorities to change some of the things inside Nevada's education system, considering you do rank last or close to last in a couple of your top priority categories?
Well, it's common knowledge that I've announced I'm running for governor. So I can confirm that for you. We have not launched a campaign, but I would run for governor. I don't know what you know about me, but I am a former educator, as I've indicated. And in fact, I have 5 degrees. 4 of them are in education. 2 master's degrees, 1 in educational administration, 1 in international education. My law degree, and I have a PhD in educational administration. I've been in the classroom. I've advocated for students. I understand that we need money, that we need talent, that we need parental involvement, and that we need student engagement. There are so many different ways that we can improve our educational system, but one of those is not by agreeing to shut down the Department of Education at the risk of $6 billion, 41,000 Pell Grant recipients, 60,000 special education students, rural education taking a hit, and so many other programs not being funded. If we had an extra $6 billion in this state, I suspect that I'd have less of an argument. If we had the expertise in this state, I guess we'd have less of an argument. But as long as we need the services, I'm going to be supporting it. Yes, sir. Next question.
Just simply, with your office, what's the plan kind of moving forward to, essentially trying to combat this?
Well, as I've indicated, we've engaged in litigation with this administration. I think my last count is we have 10 lawsuits. And let me back up and say something. Back in November after the election, I was one of the first to say, congratulations, President Trump. He won the election. I'm not an election denier. I don't deny that he's our president. And what I have said is that the victor goes the spoils. He gets the right to try to implement his policies and his political promises, but he must do so lawfully. And when he does not, my job as the top law enforcement officer in the state, the top legal officer in the state, is to defend the rule of law. And every single case we've brought, we've been able to prevail because he's violating the law. We will, rest assured, look at this most recent executive order, ascertain the bounds in the legalities of it, and if he violates the law, we will operate in the same way we always have, and that's to stand up for Nevada families, because Nevada families deserve to be stood up for.
Did you have another?
Yeah, please. Funding remains a top concern, and we know that Governor Lombardo increased per capita by just $2. What is your vision on trying to fix the way that funding comes into the state and improve the funding that we have with such a tight budget here?
Look, let me have you follow up with us for further conversation around this. I want to focus on the fact that the Department of Education has been gutted. And funds that we receive certainly will be augmenting the only $2 extra that he wants to add per pupil expenditure to. And now we have to ascertain how we are going to make up for the monies that have been lost and that will be lost under the plan that he has endorsed full-throatedly in advance, essentially, of even the executive order being signed. And what I intend to do is to continue, as I've said, to stand up for public education, because public education deserves to be stood up for.
We can take a few questions online if folks did, if there was any reporters on.
Okay.
All right. Seeing none, any other questions in the room? Good. All right.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.
Hey, thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Is there nothing aside? Jason Gale.
Thank you, sir.